So, Mr. Silverquill, tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's on your mind. It's on your mind. It's on your mind. Your mind. Greetings and welcome, one and all. I am DRWolf, and I am most pleased to present to you the Watchpony Top 10 A Moment with DRWolf episodes commentary.
Came all the way out here to tell me that? Why didn't you go see Dr. Wolf?
Doctor Who?
No, not Doctor Who, Dr. Wolf.
Who?
For this list, I was sincerely grateful to have help from the man behind Watchpony, who has far more experience putting together interesting top 10s than I. We actually crossed paths back during Pacific PonyCon 2017, where we discussed this possible video, and I'm so very glad it turned out. I'm also sincerely grateful for all of you who voted on your favorite episodes and whom without, this series could not have come anywhere near as far as it has. I am sorry that we couldn't include any of the main 7 visits, as each of them have had such wonderful talent behind them in both the artwork and the voice acting. But yeah, they would most certainly take up more than half of a top 10 list. And yeah, Firebrand aka Josh Scorcher has also had the most entries in the series for any one person now that I think about it. Well, he always pays for the damage. How, I'll never understand. Number 10, Scribbler and Small Actions, Large Consequences. I can remember Scribbler being one of the select few YouTubers to reach out to me in that first year I began uploading content. And she also encouraged me to try new projects by inviting me to take part in one of her dramatic readings, which in turn encouraged me to start putting together a few of my own. Turned out, it was the kind of work we thoroughly enjoyed. And on that note, she also happens to be one of the few YouTubers I've worked with who can understand the pain of having that work taken away from you, for reasons which don't even seem to make that much sense. In her case, she received a channel strike from someone who didn't like a couple of her stories. In my case, I had my whole channel taken down for reasons which were never explained even years later. I hope this video helps others to see what kind of effect their seemingly small actions can have. Number 9, How to Attract Your Special Pony. This particular project will always have a special place in my heart because it was the very first depiction of Mrs. Wolf for my channel. Big thanks to Lightning Bliss on that, by the way. My lady and I were actually sitting at a vendor table alongside Lightning at Pacific PonyCon 2016. I mentioned that I had often thought about putting together a video on relationships, but really needed a female's perspective to help bring it to life. My lady felt extremely hesitant to provide her own voice, and she still feels that way to this very day. But with Lightning's help, she did manage to design a character with her own style and give some wonderful words of encouragement for anyone looking to get into a relationship themselves.
I believe the best approach to finding the right sun pony for you is to start out as friends and to be the kind of pony you want to find your special sun pony.
Once again, my sincere thanks to Lightning Bliss for helping her take that step. It always brings joy into my life when my lady and I can work on a project together. Number 8, Toon vs. Cartoons. I can remember Toon suggesting to me several times that cartoons should make an appearance on my channel when he was already invading everyone else's channels long ago. I did miss out on that opportunity, but I am glad that we managed to do a follow-up to the whole cartoons saga with one lesson that I've held very dear for much of my life. Don't turn yourself away from those flaws you find unacceptable. Instead, use them. Our weaknesses can become great strengths if we strive to understand why they are an integral part of who we've been and who we wish to become. Number 7, Lightning Bliss and Accepting Help. Easily one of the most frequent lessons I've had to learn and relearn. And it's another reason why Lightning Bliss and I tend to work together so well. It's hard for us to take a break, especially when we know others are putting so much effort into their own projects. I know I get anxious when I go an entire evening without anything to work on, so I can relate whenever I hear Lightning talk about her busy schedule. Many thanks to Hungry Soma, not only for her especially adorable artwork, but also for allowing Lightning Bliss a breather for this project. I can remember she really wanted to just draw the whole thing herself, which kind of defeats the purpose behind the lesson we were discussing. Number 6. KP and leading by example. Given everything that KP has gone through in the past year, it's actually quite hopeful looking back at how far she's come since we wrote the script on this project. It's an ever-changing learning experience, leading a team where people come and go, trying to maintain a vision of what to work on and how to pursue it, making mistakes along the way and still managing to pull yourself together and try again. To be honest, I still need to learn quite a bit more on these subjects, and it's nice to know that I'm not alone in that struggle. Number 5. Silver Quill on Mortality. One of the earliest A Moment with Dr. Wolf episodes on this list, I can remember it starting because of Silver Quill's review of Twilight Time ending with him taking Spike to see Dr. Wolf. A complete surprise to me, by the way. But we ended up chatting afterwards, and he brought up the subject of mortality, and even to this day, I'll occasionally go back to this discussion because it still makes me step back and think. Now, since this video aired back in 2014, we have seen the MLP episode Tanks for the Memories, which was actually really clever in how it talked about mortality without actually talking about mortality. So even though I'm quite sure the MLP writers had this planned long before we even discussed this possibility, I am glad they found a way to address it. And yes, it was also Silver's idea to end this with him waking up from a dream. Number 4. Firebrand and Anger Management. As I've stated before, Firebrand has had more appearances on the A Moment with Dr. Wolf series than any other character. And while our first discussion on quality control in the fandom may be the more thought-provoking, this one is easily the most genuine of all the scripts we've written together. Anyone who posts their thoughts and ideas online will inevitably run into individuals who post hateful comments. And having your work criticized will always leave an impact, whether or not we want to admit it. But I am glad to see that Josh keeps working on something new, even with those hateful comments sticking out. We do tend to remember one negative comment more than 100 positive ones after all. 'Tis just another part of life. Number 3. Dr. Wolf and striving onwards without your dreams. Oh boy. This one hits so very close to home for me because I still have to struggle with this issue. I still have that heartache and despair whenever I am reminded of the dream I began to seek out more than 2 decades ago. Because that dream has never really left me. You see, I had to accept the fact that working towards my greatest dream and constantly hitting that same wall over and over again was only serving to bring down my self-confidence. And I don't know whether circumstances will change to the point where I can pursue that goal again, but there is something to be said for putting aside what you want most out of life for the sake of others who need you to fill a very different role. There is a great deal in my life that can and does bring me joy, so it's not all heartache and despair. But I hope many others can learn as I have, one of the most difficult lessons in life. It's not all about you, even when it comes to what you want more than anything else you can imagine. Number 2. Animated James and changing yourself for the better. This is one of the more unique A Moment with Dr. Wolf episodes, and not just because it happens to be the most watched out of the whole series. Animated James contacted me out of the blue asking about this topic and even offering to animate the whole episode himself. I was genuinely surprised he had even heard of my work, let alone wanting to be a part of it. And it's wonderful to see that this topic had resonated with so many people, and even inspired them to view themselves from a different perspective. Before getting to the number 1 pick, once again, I'd like to express just how thankful I am for this series and all your wonderful feedback over the years. I never would have believed that this character and these discussions would leave such a lasting impact in the Brony community and beyond. And I know that Dr. Wolf couldn't have come so far without all of your support. And a big shout out to Watchpony, who encouraged me to make this list to begin with. I'll leave a link to his original Top 10 A Moment with Dr. Wolf video at the end here, and I hope each of you will go check it out. Number 1. Keyframe and Depression. There was no doubt in my mind that this episode would end up at number 1. Keyframe's story has had such an emotional and inspiring impact throughout the whole of the Brony community, and I'm so very glad she was willing to share it here. I've had my own battles with depression over the years, and hearing her struggle has even inspired me a bit too. I've revisited this project many times since then, finding hope and comfort in both our discussion as well as the many comments left from the viewers. Depression is an ever-evolving subject with no easy answers, though it always helps to know that you aren't alone in that struggle. But now I'd like to hear from each of you. If you were asked to describe the one thing about the A Moment with Dr. Wolf series that has left the greatest impact on you over the years, what would you say? Leave your response in the comments below, and be sure to check out the original Watchpony video this commentary was based on by following the link here. And as a final note, I hope we can all remember this very simple phrase. It's good to be helping.